Hi guys, Trish again. I am going to be updating Pan That Palette today. So this year's Pan That Palette by the Pantastic Ladies was the theme Fun Size. So the palette that I picked was the Pat McGrath Labs Quad in the shade Bronze Borealis. I should not have gotten this palette. I'm only a month in and I'm honestly starting to not like it very much. I'm still figuring out how to use it and make it look good on my skin tone. I don't think it's the palette's fault. I don't think it's necessarily a bad palette, but these are not my colors. I did do some good damage on it this month though. So this is what it's looking like right now. I've got some good dips just starting to show in there. And I've only been using it a couple of months. I've only been using it a month. But yeah, I mean, I think the issue is just that these colors aren't necessarily great for me. I'm starting to make them work. This one up here, this lighter gold shade. This one is easy for me to use. It's just a light gold. It's pretty standard. I can use it with pretty much any look. I've been pairing it a lot with that pink shade that I am panning in my A to Z Project Pan. It's the other ones that I'm having issues with. So this bronze down here, in the pan, it actually looks like super similar to the gold, but it's a lot deeper than that. It's like a deep bronzy color, and it's actually really, really pretty. I'm just having some trouble figuring out how to use it because when I pair it with the gold, it's hard to explain, but like I think a lot of the issues that I have with this palette is if I use this palette by itself, just these colors, they all kind of like blend into each other and just look like a sort of muddy purpley gold look. And I don't think that's necessarily an issue with just them not being the best colors for me, because I've heard the same feedback from some other people. So that is one thing about this actual palette that I'm not a huge fan of. If I use it just these colors, try to create a look with just these colors, it just turns into like a muddy one color mess, and I'm not really sure why. When I start to use them a little bit more individually, then they're a lot easier to work with. The gold is simple. The bronze I'm having a little bit more trouble with, but that's more of a just my skin tone thing. It's a little bit too deep for my skin tone for a lot of looks. So I have to be going for like a really bold look for it to work. And this kind of mid-tone purple shade, this is honestly a little weird. It's not quite the right shade for me to be able to use as a transition shade. Because it's a little bit too warm and a little bit too dark. So if I try to use it as a transition shade in my crease and then put another shade on my lid, I feel like it looks a little funny. But at the same time, it's a little bit too light to use as a liner. So, because I started using it as a transition shade, and I'm like, no, I don't really like the way this looks. I think it's just not the right tone for me to use that way. So I started trying to use it as a liner. But the weird thing is, it's like, it's too light to use as a liner. When I try to use it, even as like a really subtle liner on my eyes, it just looks weird. And it gives me sort of a like red eye effect. I think it looks less like I'm wearing makeup and more just like my eyes kind of look a little bit red, which isn't a great look. So I'm trying to figure out those three shades. I think the more I work with it, the easier it'll be, but I think it's working a lot better if I like pair this. I should have done the Better Together challenge this year because this would have worked well for that, but I didn't sign up for that one. It's been a struggle to use though, honestly. Like I've used it a ton this month just because I'm like, no, this is my Pan That palette and it's only 4 shades. So I need to like finish it. I need to work on it. I need to like use it because I specifically, when I ordered the order that got this as a free gift, I specifically went to the amount of money that you had to spend to get this palette because I wanted this palette. So even if I didn't pay for it, I still spent more money than I would have otherwise to get it. So I want to use it and I want to enjoy it. And even if I don't enjoy it, it's probably going to be like my easiest one to pan in the sense that it's a quad and it's the only quad that I own. So I don't want to give up on it. I am going to use this either until it's gone or until the year's done, and then I'm going to declutter it if that happens and it's not gone yet. But it's been tough. It's been tough already. I'm hoping it's going to be easier to do as time goes on. There's been a couple of times that I've had really bad like makeup days with this where I just look in the mirror and I'm like, I don't like this. Like I look better when I'm not wearing makeup versus like whatever I've come up with this. And the shade that is the absolute bane of my existence recently is this glittery purple shade. It looks pretty in the pan, but it is so messy. It is so messy. Like it looks nice. It almost looks like a brownie kind of purple. But I've tried to use this in so many different ways, and not only does it kind of just muddy up the entire look, it just makes everything like, yeah, like I don't even know how to describe it. It just looks like muddy and dirty when I put it on. And maybe that's an issue where it's just not a compatible color with my skin tone. But the other thing too is it's the darkest shade in this palette. And it's also the one that has the most fallout and it has the most glitter. So it makes my eye look tend to look like super muddy and just like all the colors turn into like one weird color versus like individual transitions of color. But then I get this like dark purple glitter fallout all over my face that then is just awful to come off. And it's messy and it doesn't, I've even tried to use it with a glitter glue. It looks like just a shimmer, but I've tried to use it with a glitter glue and it still didn't really help all that much. Like it helped a little bit, but I don't know. I feel like this video is just hating on this palette, but like almost every time I've done my makeup this month, I've tried to default to this because that's the way that you pan. And I'm getting frustrated and that's not a good feeling when it's only been a month and I don't want to like not enjoy my makeup, but then at the same time, I also want to use it. And I'm like kind of determined to figure out a way to make this work for me because I don't want to be like, oh yeah, I'm starting a new like panning project. And then I pan it for like a couple of weeks. And then I'm like, yeah, no, it's not for me. Bye, and throw it out. And then that's the end of the project. Like I want to see through to the end. I want to see what I can do with this. I want to try to make it work. Like I want to push through the barriers that I've been experiencing with this. But so far, it hasn't been the most enjoyable, unfortunately. So yeah, this palette might be a dud, but we'll kind of see. I think the more I play with it, the more I'm gonna really know, is it like, is there a trick somewhere that to make it work better for me, or is it just not gonna work for me? And I think I'll know a little bit more in the coming months, but that's my update. At least I have some decent progress. That's the good news. I mean, for only 1 month, I feel like that's starting to look pretty used. So, yeah. If nothing else, even if I hate the entire time that I'm using this, if nothing else, I'll have some satisfying progress for you guys. So, hopefully next month is better. Wish me luck, guys. Wish me luck on how to use this. If anybody has any tips or tricks for like making this not look as muddy, please let me know. If you had the same issue with this particular palette, please let me know. I saw a couple of videos where they're like, yeah, this, I don't even remember which videos I was watching, but I was looking up tutorials for how to use this, and everybody was coming up with like the same exact look because there's only really one look you can do with just this by default. And a lot of times they had similar complaints where like once all the colors got in the eye, it just turned into this kind of like messy one color look. That wasn't the most flattering. So that's my update. I'm sorry if it wasn't as good and joyful as you were hoping, but yeah, I'm struggling with this. But I'm gonna keep at it, and I think next month I'll be able to at least figure out some more looks to make with it. I think I'm just gonna have to put on a creative hat and figure it out. But yeah, let me know if you have any tips or tricks, or if you had the same issue with this one, or even if you have a different palette that you noticed the same thing with. I'd love to hear it. And happy panning. All right, thanks so much for listening to my rant. And if you like this sort of thing, please subscribe. I do really appreciate it. I will be, no matter how much I hate this thing in the months to come, I will be updating this every single month and letting you guys know exactly how it is. So thank you so much, and you guys have a great day. Thanks for visiting.